Alright, so here's what we can do with unwrapping this character. What I want you to do when you're unwrapping is to, with things like clothing, try to treat it as if it were a piece of clothing. Where would the seams be? So you'd have seams running down the sides of the character, and you would have them running along here, maybe around the neck. The gloves here, we could unwrap a top and the bottom. Hair's kind of tricky. We can do those in patches. So let me do a couple things here, and then you can see how it works for you. So I'm just going to select all of this, and right now I have the unwrap open. So with this selected, the idea is if I'm looking at this, I should be able to tell what I have here, and currently I can't. I can't make out anything that looks like this. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start off with just a planar map. Move this off to the side. And the planar map, I'm going to position it to, okay, the Y here. So now if I look here, I can make out the character. Okay, so with this done, I'll currently not see those green seams all over the character, which I don't want to see right now because they're just going to be confusing. So what I can do is start sectioning out parts of this character. So I'm going to use, over here there's different seam creating tools. I'm going to use point-to-point seam. What this will allow me to do is click around here, and I'm going to create this blue seam, and I'm going to try to have it so it follows around the mesh. And I don't have to click every single vertex along the way. I just have to, if I'm staying along an edge loop, I should be fine, but I want to hit the corners. For instance, if I just tried to hit here, down here, it's going to try to figure out what way to take to get here, so we don't want to do that. I'm going to right click to finish that one. I'll do another one that comes down the back of the arm and into the glove. The other thing I can do is, let me turn that off. If I'm in edge mode, let me turn off element. If I'm in edge mode here and I loop, so this is the loop icon, I can select all of that. This option lets me convert my edge selection to a seam. So I click that, and now I've got a seam there. I'll do the same thing on this side here. So select that, loop, convert to seam. I'm going to go back to point-to-point seam, and I'm going to select this part of the neck again. Come on. Grr. What's going on? That won't let me turn that on. Weird. I'm not quite certain what's going on here. I'm not ignoring back faces. Oh, that wasn't point-to-point seam. That was the convert tool. Anyway. So start clicking there, come down the back of the arm, and zoom in where I can kind of see. Man, it's hard to see. Come on computer, work with me. Okay, click down here. I'll show you what this will allow us to do. I'm going to get out of point-to-point for a second. That way I can zoom in here on this section. Alright, so turn point to point back on, and I should be on the back of the arm right now, so I'm going to start my point to point seam again. And this is going to get drawn from, it's kind of tricky to see where I'm going from here. Should be there. I just want to make sure I got the right part. Okay, I think I do. So I'll come down here and I'll come down to the bottom of where the shirt is. I think it's right there. Is it at the bottom? I'll turn off point to point for a second. Okay. Yeah, I think that's the bottom. So now I'm going to loop that around, which should go all the way back around, and I'll do my convert. I'll show you why you do this, because it's going to make editing your seams really easy once the computer decides to unfreeze. Okay, so I'm going to turn point to point back on, and this might be easier to do in wireframe for some of this, just so I can see. We could just close that for a second. Close. There we go. Now I can actually see things. Click here. And back down to the bottom. Right there. Yeah. Right click to finish that. So with putting in this seam, what I want to do is seam out the entire thing, but with doing this, if I go to polygon mode now and I just select somewhere, there's this expand face selection to seams. So if I click that, it's going to basically select that entire section there. Now I'll open up the editor, and I'm going to move this out of the way. Another reason I like to do this, because now I can also see what I've kind of finished unwrapping already. So I'm going to go back to just selecting one polygon, do expand, and now in the editor I'm just going to right click, click break. This is the way I do it. It's just going to separate this section that I have selected away from the other one. You also notice now that there's a green seam here. Green seams are created whenever a piece of geometry is broken away from the rest of it in the UV editor. What's nice about this is now it's easy to go in and select that. So with it selected, the first thing I'm going to try is I'm going to do a relax. I like to relax by face angles. It defaults to edge angles. I'll do face. I'm just going to click apply once. Okay. So what that did is it kind of spread everything out nice and flat. So I'll just close that for now. What I want to watch for though is if any of these green seams start overlapping. So like right here. So I can take this one and just kind of pull that outside. Kind of like that. So there's the front of my shirt, basically done. Since that's done, I can now select the back part here. So I'll select it, select, make sure I didn't grab any part I didn't mean to. That's good. Right click, and I'm going to do break just to detach it from the rest. So that's just right clicking, break. Okay, do the same thing, but with this one, since whenever I planar mapped this character, I planar mapped them from basically the front view. So technically this shirt right now, this seam is backwards. So I'm going to go to Tools, Flip Horizontal. You're not going to really notice it do anything, but let me show you what happens if I don't do that. So it'll go back. If I go to Relax with a flipped portion, so relax by face angles, and I hit Apply, it gets all screwy. The reason it does that is it's trying to turn the mesh around, but it can't do it because there's too many polygons already there. So if I go to flip horizontal like that and I do apply, you can see it doesn't screw up. So now I'll come back, go to vertex mode, and again I just want to make sure there's nothing kind of overlapping here. I'm kind of fixing these. So it should look something like that. That's the front and the back of the shirt finished. So once I get parts finished, I just drag them to the side. The other reason I like unwrapping everything like this is because when I start breaking things away and relaxing them, it keeps them kind of the size that they are in relation to everything else. So now that that's finished, I'm going to come in and just select here. So this is going to be a different way to basically do the same thing that I just did. So I'm going to click the little grow button here, so I select these polygons, and let's see, how far up in did you make the leg? Okay, so I'm going to do grow again and turn that shading back on. That's F2 to turn this on and off, just so I can see through it. Alright, so with this all selected, I need to be careful. I need to come back. I've selected part of my shirt. I don't want to do that, so I'm going to hold Alt, deselect that. Alright, so now I have this. I'm going to right click and just break it away. So instead of doing the seams, I'm just breaking this section away. Now I need to separate the front and the back. So to do that, I can do a couple different things. I can go into the left view and hold Alt and just deselect and hope I get everything. One problem you're going to have to watch for, though, is by default this is set up to ignore back facing. So I'm going to turn that off. Now let's do that selection again. And I want to make sure that I don't get these parts with it. Okay, so now I'll check my selection. Okay, so I've just got the back portion of the pants selected. With those selected, I'm going to right click, I'll do break, I'll move those away. This is the back of the pants, so remember I need to flip that. So flip horizontal, relax, and apply. That's going to spread that out. And now I want to just go in vertex mode and make sure I don't have any overlapping. These are pretty close. They're not overlapping though. These ones are, however. So I'll just kind of move those apart. And same idea with here. This is actually overlapping right there. Okay, that's that part of the pants unwrapped. Now I'll come back to face. I'll select this portion. This one doesn't need to flip, so I'll just go to relax and I'll do apply. And once again, check vertex and make sure I don't have any overlapping here, and I do. So I just want to move these things apart just a little bit. Okay. Alright, pants are done. Go into face mode, and I'll just kind of move these things out of the way. So now you can see how the shirt looks like the front of a shirt, the back of the shirt looks like a back of a shirt, the front of the pants, the back of the, well, shorts, whatever, how those look. You want to be able to somewhat make out what these objects are. Okay, so now we have the arms, we have the gloves, we have the legs. So I'm going to look at doing the head. So this is going to be a completely different thing from doing the rest. So since we can't see the back of the head here, we can't see right here, the thing I'm going to show you is a cylindrical unwrap. So what's nice is I can use cylindrical map, and here's what I'm trying to get happen here. Alright, so on this cylindrical unwrap, it's going to be kind of hard to see. Let me move this out of the way. I'm just going to move this to my top screen. this green part of this unwrap cylinder, that's where your seam is going to be. So we want that to be in the back of the head. So what I can do is, first I want to align this, because right now it's trying to align this cylindrical unwrap based on what it thinks is the best alignment. That's what it's defaulting to here, best align. So I'm going to do X, that's the wrong direction, Y, that's wrong, Z. Okay, so the Z direction is what I want. So I can see that now it's kind of right around the head. So now I want to look for that seam, the green seam. And if by some miracle it's already lined up, that would be great. Hard to see. Oh, here it is, it's on the side. Okay, so what I'm going to do is rotate this, and while I rotate it, I'm going to bring the UV map editor. So right now I can see this is the front of the face, this is the back of the head. My seam right now would be along the side of the head. I don't want that. So what I want to do is I'm going to just use the rotate tool, and I'm going to rotate this 90 degrees. So I'm going to turn my angle snap toggle on. I'm going to rotate this and watch my Z direction in the bottom there when it hits 90. Okay, so not quite there yet. For some reason this always seems to be slightly finicky, so I'm going to come back with it. Okay, yeah, that's good. So it should look even on both sides here. So now let me make sure I have my seam in the back. Yeah, okay. So this is the back of the head, this is the front of the head, and my seam will now be in the back where the hair is. You can actually see here that the seam is showing up. That's what these green lines are kind of all over. These also mean that these vertices here in the editor aren't welded. I'll show you how we can see that. If I go to vertex, I can see them here. All I have to do is select all of this. Okay, right click, weld selected. I can see those all turn white now. So that's what I want to see. So the next part may or may not work. It doesn't always, but we'll see how relaxed does, because right now we want to make sure the top of the head kind of comes out okay. Right now the top of the head's going to be kind of funky because it's a cylindrical unwrap. We're not going to see it because it's covered in hair, so I'm not too worried about it, but let's just see what happens. So I'm going to do relax, and it's already set up. I'm going to hit apply, and you can see how that comes out, and that's actually not bad. And I want to make sure there are no overlaps, and I don't really see any. Here the overlaps aren't going to show up green like they would with the seams. Close that. I'll show you what you'd be looking for. Just select one of these vertices. If it was doing something wrong, I would see all this crisscrossing kind of happen. If I see any crisscrossing happening with my the kind of wireframe grid I have here, I know something's overlapping. So that's the head. The head's done. Okay, so I'm going to just close that for a second. Okay, so the head's done, the top of the body's done, the pants are done. Okay, so for the boot, I'm going to let you do the rest of this, but I'm going to give you ideas on how you can kind of handle this. So the boot, what I would do with the boot is I would select this bottom part by itself. And I can even select both of these. I'll do the boot too, just so you can see one more example. So I'm going to open up my editor. Okay. Oh, first things first. Actually, I'm just going to break these away here so I can just, since I've got them selected already. Never leave anything in here until you're ready to kind of finish. And you can see how big the head is compared to everything else. So what I can do is just bring the head up here and just scale it down. I typically leave my heads a little bit larger than everything else in the scene because that's what you're looking at most. So let it be about the size of the shirt. That's fine. You can make it smaller if you want. Alright, so we'll go back to having these selected. So while these are selected, I'm going to do Planar Map, I'll let it do best align, which it's going to default to. Actually, I don't like that. I'll just do Z. And that's probably meaning that they're flipped as well, because the Z, it should be looking downward at them. And since that's the bottom, easy way to tell is turn off Planar Map, come to Relax, and hit Apply. And if it does that, you know they need to be flipped. So I can just do Flip, Apply. That'll kind of make them back to being the shape they represent here. Close that. Scale this down, because those are pretty big and we're not going to see the bottom of the shoes often. Alright, so the way I would handle this boot is I would just go into the front view. Let's select that portion of the boot, deselect down there. Actually might put a seam here just at the top. So we'll do loop, convert to seam, because I want the inside of the boot and the outside of the boot to be two different things. So loop, convert to seam, and while I'm at it, let's see how your loops are set up here. Loop. Alright, that's fine. I'll leave that as a seam. So I'll do seam, because I'm not worried about these seams showing up now that I've already done this part, and it's not going to hurt anything just to convert that, even though it went all the way up. Again, not really worried about that for this part. So loop, seam. Yeah, so I'm not worried about that part doing this. I don't know if I have to do the bottom or not. I know it's got a green seam, but just to be safe, I'm just going to create. Actually, let me see. If I go to polygon mode and I select and I expand, yeah, well, that's easy. I can just deselect that. That's fine. Okay. So again, I'm just breaking this away, just because if I have to get back to select this, it's easier to do it from there. So select, expand, deselect the shoe, the sole, I mean, break. Okay, so those are the two sides of that boot. I'll do this one as well. Okay, selected, deselect my bottom, break, move that out of the way, and select the other side, expand, deselect the bottom, and break. I'm trying to keep my shoes together here for the most part. Okay, so now that I have this, I'm going to do planar. Best alignment looks pretty good. So what I'll do is turn off planar. I'm just going to move this out of the way for now. Select the other side. Best alignment looks good. Turn off planar and move this up. What am I doing? So just kind of keep doing this for these sections. And then I'll show you something and see, hopefully, if it works. Planar. Move that out of the way. Okay, so now with the boots lined up this way, I'm going to select all of them, and I'm going to try doing a quick peel. And what that does is it tries to spread everything out so that there will be no overlapping. It doesn't always work, but it looks like what we have here is pretty good. So I typically just try to rotate things so they're kind of straight. That's pretty good. Come on. There we go. Something else you can do is whenever you're putting these and trying to fit everything in, I like to group things together like this, but it doesn't mean that I can't do something like this whenever I go to group them. Whenever I try to pack my UVs, I mean. What? Why is that selecting way over there? That's weird. Alright, I'll just rotate from here then. Okay. So to have things as close as possible with no gaps, or as little gaps as possible, and kind of line things up like this. So this takes up very little space compared to if they were just back to back. Now what that does mean is that these are the two sides of one boot, and these are the other side of the other boot. They won't fit together the other way, so. Alright, so I'll move this down and out of the way. And as you can notice, I'm trying to stack things also, so my shirt's here, my pants here, my legs will be down here. I'll scale this down so it's about the right size. Okay. So this thing's almost completely unwrapped now. So the last bit of leg here, let's see. I think let's see. Gonna try. I'm gonna move this out of the way again. Let's see how many edges I have here. So this one, so it's 1 and 2 to the bottom, 1, 2, 3 to the top. Okay. So I'll select these two. And these. Loop. I'm going to do grow and grow again. I just realized you can't see this. So those are welded together. So I'm just going to do break. Oh, wait. Crap. I never get this to work. Convert edge to face. Hey, that worked. That's a first. Just move those away. And those look like they're... Oh, I forgot to take the tops with those. We'll weld those back on. Alright, so now the way these are set up, I can either unwrap this section with cylindrical again. You can see it's going to be really, really big, but it'll be fine. Again, I want my seam to... it doesn't need to fall in the back. You're actually going to see the inner section of the leg less. So let's see where it's defaulting to the front. So I'm going to rotate this so that my seam is instead. I want to make sure that I get a nice line here, because sometimes if this is rotated a little, let me see if I can do it. What I want you to watch out for when you're doing this. It may not have. Oh, there we go. Happened for. Okay, there. So if I don't rotate right, this polygon that should be over here is going to be over here. So I want to make sure that I get a nice, easy line down through there. Okay. So I'll take that, go to vertex mode, make sure these are welded, weld, and I may not need to do relax, but let's see what happens here. Relax, apply. Oh, I actually did, because there was this very small seam that was laying over one another from up here. This is actually upside down as well, so could rotate that around so that it's facing the right way. And do the same thing with the other one. So cylindrical. Let's see where my seam is showing up. So this one is showing up in the back of the leg. I'll rotate this 90 degrees. That's good. So I'll turn off cylindrical. Go to vertex mode. Weld all of those. And then, with all of it selected, do relax, apply, and rotate that around 180. Okay, so with those, I can scale this down, and I'll kind of put them over by my boots. Just to keep everything kind of organized. That's the bottom of my the boots. I try to leave enough space in between things too whenever I'm organizing this, so that it's easy for me to go in and select things like that. Okay, and then the last part. So it's going to be the same idea. Cylindrical. See where my seam is. So I can see it's showing up on the side. So rotate this 180. Kind of hard to tell. Okay, there it is. Just highlighted green. Okay. And if this is looking like really wavy and weird, I can try to align to Z, which is going to try to flatten this out a bit more. And then, let's see where my seam was. Oh, was it already in the right spot? No. I went too far. Not there. There we go. So, I want the seam to be there. Okay, turn that off. Make sure to weld my vertices here. Those ones are. You'll also see that whenever I select a vertice, there's a blue one that lights up. That one means that this is the same one, basically. This is where my seam is. It loops back around to here. So if you kind of wonder what that is. So let's do relax, apply, ooh. Let's try flipping that. That was weird. Typically with cylindrical, you don't get that problem, but whatever. Alright. Select the other one. Cylindrical. Oh, we gotta be in polygon mode. Cylindrical, set it to Z to start with, because we did that for the other one. And I'm gonna rotate the seam here around. To there. Okay, turn off cylindrical, and relax. Let's see if the, oh wait, no, don't relax yet. Forgot to weld. Weld selected. Tools, relax, apply. Gets weird. Should flip it. Flip and apply. Okay, there's that. Make this tiny, because these are on the inside. You're not really going to see them that much, so they don't need to be so big. Anything you're not going to see a lot, make smaller in the viewport, so things that are kind of hidden away, like the inside of the glove. So you should be able to do the inside or the glove basically the same way that I've been doing everything. I would separate it top and bottom, so you could run your seam along the bottom edge of here. So this edge, I don't know where this is going to. I can't really see where it goes to, but it probably comes out on one of these. So I would select the edges around the hand, convert that to a seam. I would draw, you already have a seam around the glove, but, or around the inside of the glove here, but I would do, move this out of the way. Come on. I'd separate this. You may not have to, but I'd separate the inside and outside, so I'd probably have a seam there. Also on this side. I'd have the seam there and then running along the bottom edge. And then you can select this top view of the glove and then planar map it, and then put a relax on it, make sure you don't have any overlaps. And then you've got all these like little things. I don't know if they're, so I can just select them like this. I just gotta watch some of that geometry, because these things are kind of overlapping one another to start with. So I would separate. Oh wait, is it not actually? There's n-gons? What am I looking at? Oh, okay, this go all the way under. Okay, good. It's weird. It was confusing me. So I would map those kind of separately. Move that off to the side. Do this kind of top section with this. If you still want to, if you want to like delete all these duplicates that you have, or at the very least detach them, and then unwrap one of these, and then use the duplicate versions of it, you know, everywhere where you have this at, that'll make it a lot easier. At any point here, when I'm unwrapping, I can right click, convert to editable poly. I'm not going to lose anything that I've just done. Whenever I apply unwrap again, and I open this up, you can see all of my stuff is still over here that I've unwrapped. One other thing. So I'm just going to take one of these by itself. Okay. I'm just going to move that out of the way. I'll show you one thing, and this sometimes works. So I'll take this top section, and I'll do grow, 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 grow. There we go. And I'm going to do planar map, which gives me this. I'll turn that back off. I don't know if this will loop all. No, it doesn't loop all the way around. I'm just looking at this. Okay. So that's that part. That's this. And whatever that is. What is that? Not sure what that is. Oh, that's the bottom. Okay. I'm going to break that off of there. So I'll planar map this. And I should have moved that out of the way first. And then I have this little portion. I'll just do planar map and move it out of the way. What is this? Is this part of it? Any part that you can't see should be deleted. So all the bottoms of these, since you'll never see them, I should just right click, convert to editable poly. So that's going to get rid of all that. But I should just delete those. I'm going to let you keep them, but there's no reason to have them. You'll never see them, so you don't need an unwrap for them. But we'll unwrap it anyway just for this. We'll keep it really small. So we'll just leave it as is. So now I'm going to take the vertices here. You can see these are overlapping because the green is kind of passing through. And I'm just going to pull these inside. Just like that. So those are so that's how I'd unwrap this. Okay. The reason I pulled those in, those are these wall sections that are on the inside here. So I want to make sure I can at the very least see them. Maybe not in like the best detail, but if I wanted I could select this, scale this down smaller, just so I get more area here for painting on. Do that for the other one. So the thing I want to show you, the last thing for this video, is if you've duplicated a bunch of objects, you should be able to copy and paste certain amounts of unwrap. It doesn't always work great though. I'm just fixing this. Okay, that's a bit better. Easier to deal with. This is again on the bottom, should be deleted. I'm going to make it really small because we don't really care about it. Okay. So I'm just going to have these be like this. So this is my entire unwrap for the little, what is it, nut bolt thing that you have on here. So that's the entire unwrap for that. I'm going to scale it down because based on the body right now it's ginormous. So make this pretty small. Alright, so here's what I want to show you. So if I have one of these completed and I right click and I hit copy. Uh-oh. I may have just broken Max. It shouldn't really have a problem doing this, but we'll see what happens. Come on. Don't break. Save before you do. I haven't saved anything, which is really bad of me. Come on. Oh, we're okay. Let me save this first. So just do save as. Okay. So what I wanted to say was when I right click and I do copy, what I should be able to then do is select any of these other ones that I have on the body. And like I said, this sometimes works. I'm just going to move this out of the way for now. So I'll select all of these. Did I miss any? Okay, I think I got everything. So bring this back down. And what I'm going to do is right click and hit paste. And what should happen is I should have basically all those extra ones in there. So with that done, I'm going to select all of just those. I'm going to go to Pack UVs and I'm going to say, yeah, this is fine. I change my padding to be a little closer, so I'll just do 0.5, so 0.05. I hit OK. That's not what I thought was going to happen. I have all those selected. I thought it was going to separate them up. Okay, let me undo that. Well, what I could do is just select. I don't know what happened. That's really weird. That's all of those, but it shouldn't have put them all together when I pasted. Shouldn't. Maybe I have to do this one at a time. So I'll try this again. Copy. I'll just select one. Paste. Okay, that's what I wanted to see. So I might have to just do this to each of them. Paste. Paste. I don't remember if I did that one. Oh, apparently I did. Okay, so those are the two hands. Okay. So then I've got the ones on the knuckles. Paste. So I'll set the knuckle ones up here. Paste. Paste. I think you get the idea. But I might as well just do them. I've got them here already. Paste. So this will be this hand. Paste. Alright. All the knuckle ones are smaller, so I'm going to scale them down. And I'm also going to move them a bit closer together, just so I'm not eating up a lot of room. And there we go. Let's put these over here somewhere. Alright, so the last thing you have there is the arms, and then whatever all the rest of this is. But those are different belts and things. So hopefully that'll give you a better idea of what you should do to unwrap, what it should look like, and what you should be seeing. So I'm just going to right click, convert to edit poly, and save and send this to you. I'll just rename it over that one. Yes, don't crash. And that's it.